Buckle up and get ready for a roller coaster ride of some tasteless humor, lots of heart, and radical truth with two scrappy chicks. Because adulting is hard, but we are thinking that laughing about it is just so much easier.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad that you decided to join us again here at Two Scrappy Chicks. And by the time you hear us, it will be Tuesday, so happy Tuesday to you. Hope you are doing well. And I just wanted to touch back on what we were talking about with the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case because I had this really, I guess, an epiphany moment, a realization that really hit pretty hard because it's something that I hadn't put together. And Ginger, when I told you about this, I was like still in shock. I'm like, I cannot believe that I did not realize this until a couple days ago. And what it is that, they call it IPV, intimate partner violence, either starts or worsens when a woman is pregnant and then tends to escalate and gets worse postpartum. And and I've looked at this, looking at different studies. There's many, many studies, and it's partner jealousy towards infants, and it's maternal infant bonding, and this is a real and documented phenomenon. In the again, IPV, they call it intimate partner violence and coercive control literature, and although it's usually not labeled simply as jealousy of the baby, although that's what I would say. That's what I think anybody would say. Instead, it shows up under a really broader, I think, umbrella under coercive control, postpartum, IPV escalation, attachment disruption, maternal infant bonding interference. And I have been saying for years, I was robbed of having that bonding time to be able to bond with my children, take care of them, because both my quote unquote partners, husbands at the time, were absolutely did everything that they could because they weren't the center of attention to get the focus on them. And any attention, even negative attention, as we know, is better than anything, especially if they can find a way to keep you focused on them and not on the baby or not on yourself. And this was something that was very prevalent that I realized as I'm looking back that the abuse with my first husband, it literally did begin as soon as I told him I was pregnant. And don't get me wrong, I married him. I really didn't want to. My family told me I had to. That was like nowhere in my mind was I like, oh well, now we have to get married. No, that was my family. And I'll tell you, I literally waited till almost the bitter end. I was about 8 months pregnant before we went to a civil service because my grandmother kept saying, Marie, how long are you going to wait? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I would like to wait forever because I don't want to be married. But, be that as it may, I was only 18 at the time, and I succumbed to the pressures thinking, this is what I have to do now. I shouldn't have. And I feel sad for myself and for my children because they're the ones that really paid the ultimate cost. And to understand that this is actually a tactic that is perpetuated against women and their children. And what brought it to the forefront for me and what really hit it home was this Kelsey Fitzsimmons case because, and this is just my personal opinion, and I'm sure people aren't going to be happy with it. I don't think he cares about that baby at all. I'm sure the women in that family are the ones taking care of the baby, and he just doesn't want her to have him. He doesn't want her to have that bond, that love. And I'm sure when he saw her and nursing him, holding him, caring for him, loving him, and and he's like I said, that baby is your world, and you are that baby's world. And my mind keeps going back to that recording of her being holding the baby. You can hear him cooing because she was up with him, and I think she was either going to nurse him or had finished nursing him. And Justin was, of course, having a little temper tantrum, being drunk, and she's basically telling him, just go to bed. Just go to bed and be normal. You have training tomorrow. Just be normal. He couldn't because he was insanely jealous of her and that baby. That's my personal and semi-professional opinion since I have been through this myself, but I think why it was so upsetting for me is because I didn't put the pieces together. I didn't connect the dots. And I thought, well, I'm going to ask Ginger. And Ginger, when I asked you about this, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, um, I was like the same. Why didn't I think of that? And the donor said numerous times, you care about those kids more than me. And actually, yeah, I did because
Right.
he was a
Absolutely.
POS and treated me like
Right.
crap.
Right.
So, yes, sirree, Bob, you better believe it.
And then, we talk about how words matter. And for me, too, I think as a female or as a woman in this world, we're always trained to soften everything. Oh, it's fine. Give him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't really mean that. That's not what he means. And he's just joking or blah, blah. And words matter. And now that I'm making hold myself accountable for what I say, and I'm especially doing that for other people, and I'm not trying to take what they're saying and make it into something that it's not or interpret it. If someone says something to me, then I'm going to take their word for it. Okay, I believe you. And you said something that your first mistake, the donor. What did
Yeah.
he say to you about if should you dare to leave him, you and your what?
Oh, well, yeah, when he had left and um when I think it's when he came back and said, "What do you want?" And I go, "I want a divorce." And he said, "Nobody would want me or my luggage,"
Yeah.
meaning my kids.
Yeah. I think that wording is very poignant and powerful because why wouldn't he just say, no one's going to want your kids? Like, no one's going to want kids that aren't theirs. Why is he calling them luggage? Because in his opinion, they're things. They're just something that you got to drag around. That is so sad.
Yes. And I just ignored him because he should have never been a father.
No, no.
He
Well, and I think a lot of guys don't even want to be fathers, although they think they probably succumb to the same pressures that women do too, right? Societal. Well, don't you want to be a father? Don't you want to get married? Don't you, because I'm sure their parents are like, hi, I'd like to be a grandmother. I'd like to be a grandfather. And not everybody should be a parent. Not everybody is built for that. And I think if people are forced into that, I think it goes horribly wrong.
Yes. And I know his parents wanted grandchildren, and I felt like his mom had animosity towards me because I could actually give
Have
birth
your,
where she couldn't.
yeah, I know. A little bit of jealousy there. And then you also told me about a story where you had asked that you were working and he was supposed to go pick up the kids from daycare, and what happened?
Oh, yeah, I went to pick them up from daycare and like it's really sketchy because try not to remember the bad shit. Um, I think he was pissed off at me and he beat me to getting the kids from daycare and then drove home, brought them in the house and locked me out and wouldn't let me in. And here's the kids looking out the window like, what the heck? Not understanding why he's doing that. So I called the police and they came and they told him he couldn't do that. And then, um, domestic violence really wasn't taken as seriously as it is now, but they did say one of us has to leave. And I was just like, I'm not leaving them with him. And so he left for the night. And God only knows where he went, bar, another chick's house.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, he liked to be manipulative and play games and use the kids. And
Yeah, yeah. And the kids, I feel, and not even that I feel, I've taken the time to look at all these different studies and reports, and we'll put the information in our show notes. And I wish I could tell people, hey, there's a way to alleviate this. I just don't think that there's a way to be able to determine if you're involved with somebody who just wants to tell you all the right things and do all the right things because they want to be married and they want all the benefits of marriage, or if they really do mean it. Because I think you and I touched briefly, I don't even know, we might not have, but there was a woman who, knew this guy. She had already been through a divorce, and when she, reconnected with him, she was like, he was very nice and funny and smart. And she said, I'm not doing anything casual. She goes, my goal, is to find another partner. I would like a life partner. And she even said she wanted, more kids. And he's like, oh, that's exactly what I want, and et cetera, et cetera. But he told her that he couldn't have kids, but that's something that he always wanted. And then she's like, well, she wanted to get married, she wanted to have kids. Well, long story long, she actually did end up getting pregnant, and I don't know if we ever discussed this. I can't think of her name right now, but he didn't tell his family about her. They didn't even know that they were living together or whatever. He told her his family would never accept her because I think he was a specific religion that wouldn't accept her. And he said, oh, I'm so excited because, I didn't think he could have kids, and then they're pregnant, and he's telling her how excited he is to have this baby. He actually tries to murder her in broad daylight in the street. It took like 4 guys to get him off her. Her and the baby barely survived. So I don't know, like, he didn't have to be with her. You know what I mean? It's not like she sought him out. He sought her out and wanted to date her and wanted to be married to her and said that he wanted to have children and et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know. I don't know what's happening in the world. I'd love to know. I just feel like, things are getting harder for women and not easier. And there's got to be a solution here, and the only thing that I can think of is prevention, right? Ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes.
And to
And
have
it's a
especially
shame.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, it's a shame guys like that ruin it for guys who actually are good and genuine, you know?
I know, because that's the thing, you don't hear about the good ones. You don't. And that's, and I get it when guys are like, well, it's not all men. Well, it's in the high 90s percentage of intimate partner violence against women. High 90s. So again, it's all men until it's no men, because I'm telling you, if women were offing their partners the way that guys are doing it, there'd be very different laws. It would be a completely different approach. Completely. And I'm not understanding. I mean, I guess I am. They just, don't see women as, human beings, I suppose. And I didn't ever want to think this way. And for a very long time, I didn't. I'd heard the word patriarchy and people throwing it around and, talking about this or that and the other. And I really did not fully understand that it's not just a catchy little phrase or a word. It's an actual, systems that have been put in place that, that favor guys. And we were talking about different cases, and I was getting all riled up because I'm like, why is it that the judges want everyone to just work together when it comes to these obviously physically and emotionally abusive situations where the woman is forced to mitigate or to, do conciliation or mediation to make it work with a person who clearly does not care about her or the children. Their main goal is to control and to cause, like with these studies that, these guys see these children as the rival for their attention. And, if a partner is already, highly jealous or controlling, this just heightens it. It makes it worse. And then who pays who pays the ultimate cost? The children, truly, and the mom. And I don't know what her was. It Taylor Frankie.
Taylor Frankie Paul. Yeah.
Okay. And that in her situation, that everyone wants to crucify her and nail her to the wall with how she reacted. And I think you said the judge made a comment that she's highly reactive. anybody in a situation where you are constantly poke, 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 pick, 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 and you're constantly having your mental and physical space being assaulted by someone, insulted, you're being gaslit, and then the children are being used as, as pawns to get you all riled up. And then you're the problem because you're having a normal human reaction because your nervous system literally cannot take anymore. And there have to be, they talk about like coercive control in the lethal assessment program for, a higher risk and everything. Why aren't these judges being like read in? Like get these people up to speed on what they need to look for, because there have got to be more harsher penalties for these men that are allowed to continue to stalk, harass, separate, and that's one of the things too that they will use to, to separate a mother from her child. They will use the family court. They'll use CPS, Child Protective Services, law enforcement, employers, or schools. It's called system abuse or procedural abuse or litigation abuse. So if we have all these terms and they have had all these studies, why doesn't this also translate in the law when you are in that situation with your children and you're seeking help? Why aren't these judges read in? Why is this guy not getting penalties, jail time, restricted visitation with the child, if any at all? I mean, I have a lot of questions. You know what I mean? There's plenty of studies. It's not like it's, they're not guessing. They're not just thinking that this is an issue. It's well documented. It's been well researched. So that's always my question. So why are we in this situation where women are still faced with the constant control and manipulation of themselves and their children at the pleasure of these guys? I don't get it.
I don't either. And
because that hurts the child and the bonding with the mother. And I don't know. I mean, you still are close to your kids. I'm not so much with mine. And I do realize, especially as the more that I'm learning, how this bonding situation and this interruption in my relationships with my children, because I couldn't be there, I had to work. And then when I was there, I was heavily restricted. They were heavily restricted from spending time with me because he couldn't bear it to be separated from me for 5 minutes. He had to have all of my attention. It's damaging, it's detrimental, and it carries on. This could be a forever thing. You know what I mean? There's nothing you can do about it. Damage is done. And I think that's why this Kelsey Fitzsimmons thing bothers me so much, because I think it's so blatantly obvious what he's doing. It's got nothing to do with him thinking that child is in danger. Obviously, he is not in danger with her. He's in danger with him and his nutty family and her turncoat, stabbed her in the back friends. But no one, but I just don't see where there's any consequences for them, honestly.
I know that story really saddens me. I couldn't imagine
I
going
know.
through that.
Um, and we're just a bundle of good news today, because then we were going to talk about the the car situation, which also had me like, what is happening to this society where, and again, patriarchy, more control, more restrictions, more of your money, which means more struggle, more stress, more strain. And I saw that Ford, as of 2027, they're implementing these cameras inside your vehicle, and there are going to be some cameras where you're not going to know where they are, and they're listening too, by the way, so that AI can, I guess, read you and determine if you're fit to drive. And if you're not fit to drive, if the AI says you're impaired, if you're too emotional, tired, crabby, I don't know what the criteria is going to be, your car's not going to start. And if you're driving and you're going, I guess from what they're saying, you're also going to start getting tickets for traveling and like for, road infractions, such as it's going to clock your time from point A to point B. And when you start to get to these stop signs and stoplights, that if it calculates your time as too fast, you're going to get a ticket in the mail and you cannot dispute it because it's going to say you were speeding because you got there too fast. It's calculating. I mean, what if I took a shortcut? I don't get it. It's just so, I mean, I'm laughing, but I really don't think it's funny. And it's just, voice recognition, facial recognition, and all this information is being shared with law enforcement, like the flock cameras. Do you see any in your area?
Um, Not per se, but I know there is.
Do
That's
you?
how, yeah, that's how they've caught these people who've stolen cars in town, and how they track cars that are on the run.
But it's
So,
not being used just for that, though. See, that's the thing, is that they're going to hype this is for community safety. But so there's a woman, there's a couple of women that I've seen, and if I don't have their names, I'd have to do more research on it. But that have one, her ex was a sheriff, or became a sheriff, and using the flock cameras to stalk her, and she was getting like 100 text messages a day from him for months, and getting like 10 to 15 phone calls from him every day for months, even though she was with somebody else. She like wanted nothing to do with him. They weren't married, no kids, nothing. He was using those cameras to track her every movement, to know where she was. And that's not the only woman. There's another woman too. I think her ex was or is a police officer, and was tracking her every move too with these flock cameras. So this stuff is hackable. And then what about the safety of the children? Like, who's getting into these systems? You say it's just law enforcement, and obviously law enforcement can be very sketchy. I'm sure there are some really amazing, great people in law enforcement. It's the ones that are really not great that we have to be concerned about. Our privacy, our safety for ourselves and our children, especially women. And I have a lot of questions on that too. And there are a lot of people that are speaking out about this. And I want to say it was Michigan, but again, I could be wrong, where they were talking about how they voted down and voted out these flock cameras in their town because they don't want the expenditure, they don't want to be taxed for it, and they don't want to be tracked and surveilled. I don't know how long that can last, but for now, it's a win for them. And my only thing is, you, as a human being, as a person, as a consumer, just say no. When these cars start rolling out in 2027, don't buy them. Don't buy them. Let them choke on them like they're doing with these electric cars that are, rotting somewhere and, polluting our environment. But yeah, I mean, you got to let your dollar be your vote. If they don't want to hear your voice, they're sure going to see your if they're not going to sell any cars, tell them to
um,
forget it.
I was thinking about that Waymo car. Have you seen it?
No.
There was a video of a guy in it, and Waymo is a driverless car. And it would not leave the parking lot he was in. It kept driving around in circles, and he was starting to get sick.
Oh God.
And he was like struggling to like get a hold of someone to say, "Hey, your car is dysfunctional here." And I've seen it do other crazy stuff where it pulls out in traffic, and I think it may have gotten it into an accident.
Well, then you have to wonder, is someone doing that? Is someone messing with you, or is it truly a glitch?
I don't know, but I don't think I'll ever get in a driverless car.
No, right? Absolutely not. So you just got to say no. You just can't participate in any way, shape, or form. It's not a good idea. And if you see something in your town or in your community where they're having, we all do need to get very involved at our local and state levels to find out what's happening, because I think there was a town that also said no to these data centers, and it's like they're getting funded with billions of dollars with a B, and yet we're all still being taxed and paying more and higher electric bills and everything to fund this. It's like, what? And like the insurance companies, I didn't know the insurance companies for health insurance were getting all kinds of federal funding, and then you're still paying a premium, you're still paying a copay, you're still paying, 80, 20% of whatever. It's like, what is happening right now? We have been so shafted, triple, quadruple, quintuple taxed on everything. It's like when you get into it, it's like, how can you even look at anybody who's in any kind of political office and be like, how do you not know about this? You're voting for it or you're supporting for it. And I don't care, left, right, red, blue, they're all the same to me. They're all the same. I'm not seeing any real changes on the ground. I heard a lot about Doge. I'm sure you heard a lot about Doge. I've heard a lot about tariffs and all this money, billions of dollars in medical and Medicaid fraud and all these other things, all these foreigners coming in here that, were brought in here by the millions, millions, tens of millions, getting all these free benefits and everything while you and I are paying through the nose and working our butts off just to keep one nostril above water. And where's our money? Give it to us. You have it. Give it to us. Show us that you really mean what you say. Where's the Doge money? Where's our tax money that we've been overcharged on? Where is all this money? Where? Do you think, and honestly, I don't, and I know this sounds very cynical, I don't think we're ever going to see it. They'll send you maybe $800 stimulus check or $1,200 stimulus check to kind of keep everybody quiet and happy. What they need to do is get rid of this illegal income tax and then send everybody back everything that they were charged illegally that went to all these illegal funds all over the country. Give me back my money. That's how I feel. And
Yeah.
I'm sure I feel the same way too. I'm just so done, especially at our age, It's like we've worked all our lives and told, you just work hard and you do well. No, because they will find every single thing that they can do to tax you to death so that you have nothing. And then you think you own your car. You do not. If you don't pay for your license plates, you can't drive. If you pay for your house, if you don't pay your property taxes, you can't live there anymore. So you really don't own anything. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
I know.
Oh, it's such a scam.
Time to get a horse and buggy.
Yes.
Go live with the Amish.
Right? Oh my gosh. Like, yes. And control your own food. And just, we don't need to have, a 15-room mansion with, 3-bedroom size closets. And we just don't need all this crap. We truly don't. And I don't know how people bought into it. Well, that's the standard of success is when you have a house and you've got a car. Yeah, all these things that you're still going to be paying for no matter what. There's never an end to payments on a car. Ever. Like, okay, so you paid your loan. Now you got to pay for license plates. Now you got to pay some cities, you got to pay for city stickers. You still got to pay for your insurance, although I said, you and I both know not everybody drives around without insurance. I think there should be very steep penalties for that. You have one accident without insurance, you need to be spending at least 3 months in jail. Period. End of story. I don't care what the story is. You drive, you cause an accident, you don't have insurance, because insurance is so cheap, especially with a lot of the online companies. There's no excuse for it. And yeah, I just feel like it's a scam. It's all a scam. It's all a
It
scam.
is. It is. And speaking of scams, I have Arlo cameras. It's my second set. And the first set became obsolete. And I go, that's bull crap. And then I
Mm-hmm.
get the new one, and then, oh, there's it now a charge. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And one of my cameras is doing can't update firmware, and I tried anything and everything with technical support and everything, and they offered me a discount to buy 3 new cameras with them and discount my service for like 3 months. And I go, they were kind of putting the pressure on me, and I'm like, no, that's not cool. You shouldn't be pressuring me. I need to think about this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think my last day is up tomorrow or today, I don't know. But um I don't think I'm gonna buy theirs. I could buy because I need the what do you call it? The magnetic base
Okay.
where I have it on the faucet.
Oh, okay.
Whatever, however you say that. There's another word I pronounce wrong. And I take it down when I need to charge it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just very convenient. And the ones they were trying to sell me, you have to like screw into the house. I was like, no, that's not going to work for where I want it
Right.
because we have a brick front. So, they do have one on Amazon. It's Arlo, and it's got the magnetic base. And I'm thinking about that, but I'm also looking at other ones to where I don't have to pay a subscription to use them. This is really getting to be a BS with stuff and paying a
Mm-hmm.
subscription for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but it's like one thing after the other, the Arlo camera, and then Facebook Messenger was acting up. So I deleted it and then it wouldn't let me reinstall. So I was like trying all different things and I freed up, even though I have memory and the space, I freed up some more and now all of a sudden it installs. But now the new thing is my vehicle. Unless I have it hooked up to Android Auto, my texts are coming in weird. It doesn't
Oh.
say who it's from and just gives me like a little symbol, like colon, dot, and I was like, what the heck is this? And of course it's not reading it because it can't subscribe figure out what it is. So then I'm looking into that. How do I fix that? And I did anything and everything with that. And the only thing I came up with um, is it Samsung? I guess the Samsung Messenger is going away and they want you to use Google Messenger. So I downloaded it and I'm going to try that in the car and see if that fixes it. And if it doesn't, then I'll have to go to toyota.com because there's a way to get the firmware and upload it to a USB drive and plug it in the car and fix it that
Okay.
way. But I'm just like, come on, all this technology stuff, it's getting crazy.
Yeah. It's become such a burden to do all these updates, and as soon as you do an update, one thing doesn't work, another thing doesn't work, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, and then today the computer, I'm trying to print. This happens every time. My husband will print something and then I struggle to print. And then now that I printed, when he goes to print, he'll struggle. But it took me an hour to figure this out. And it was giving me a message I've never got before saying, check the front panel. Okay, well, I did. I kept checking the front panel. I checked the levels of the ink. That wasn't a problem. I pulled both paper trays out. I thoroughly looked to see if anything was um like stuck. Nothing. Uh so then what I did was I downloaded HP's app for the printer because I was using the Samsung app. And when you know, oh, all of a sudden there wasn't any of those problems, and then it printed an hour later.
Yeah. Like, well,
So,
like why? And you said you had this printer for a while, and it's all of a sudden just started doing this, right?
no, it's always been glitchy like this.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking of getting a small printer for the office and not HP. Sorry, HP, but I had a laptop that only lasts 3 years, and then I had to get a Dell. So, yeah, I'll probably get a Canon or a Epson. I've had those kind of printers before and no
Yeah, yeah.
issues.
I like Epson. I've had Epsons before. Those are good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
really quick. I know we've got how many minutes? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Because I wanted
Um,
to touch on something else if we
we
can.
got a couple minutes, but tomorrow we will be at the holistic uh, health event in Naperville at the Marriott. That you can still get tickets or pay there. It's like $5, 10 to 4 tomorrow. So yeah, hopefully we'll see some of you there. Two of our other friends are going. So oh
It'll be
well,
fun. It'll be nice.
yeah, and people aren't going to hear this till Tuesday. So
Right.
should have said this last week.
That's
So
okay. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully you've seen on the Facebook group. I kept posting it, so okay. All right. And we got a couple minutes, so go.
And I was going to announce, I have two new solo and sovereign episodes that came out, episode 4 and 5. Check them out. We're delving into the LAP, the Lethal Assessment program, and also too with just a way out. The way out is built. Making a plan when you've made that decision that it's time to go, and you get a bit of my personal story with the resources and the people that helped me. So yeah, that's it. Episode 4, episode 5, solo and sovereign. Check it out.
Yeah, and then I'll put a link to the event we're going to because it seems like they have this twice a year. I think it was November
Yeah.
when you went to this one.
Yes.
So yeah,
True.
yes, excellent. And while you were talking, I was on Amazon ordering baby microphones. They're really cute. They're pink.
Oh, cute.
So
Okay.
I will have those with in case we want to hit record.
Cool.
Okay. If anyone's interested in baby microphones that are pink, let me know. I'll give you the link. You don't have to buy pink. I
Right.
want pink because everything's black, gray, white. So I'm like,
Right. I
I'm getting
know.
pink.
We're bringing color back.
Yes. Oh, and I got a new cat. Not a real one. It's a
Virtual.
yeah, it's a toy one and it meows and rolls and it's cute. So until I get my real cat, that's a companion. I'm weird, I know.
It's not weird.
I could always steal one of yours. You might not notice.
Oh, I would notice. As soon as I don't find one, I'm like, hello, where are you? Makes me panic. But anyway.
I'll send you a picture of me and Geo driving away.
Right. He'll be like, Mom. He is a good baby. He is a good baby. All right. Well, everybody take care. Be well. Check out our show. Support our show.
Yeah, like, subscribe, share. Do it all. Make us
Do it
grow.
all. That's right.
Love us. Because
Yes.
we're scrappy.
Yes.
All right.
All
Till
right.
next time. Have a
Till
good
next
week.
time. Bye. We love our scrappy peeps. So thank you all for joining us and becoming part of our flock. So please like, subscribe, and share. And if you don't like us, unfortunately, yo mama. But if you do like us, we look forward to seeing you next time on Two Scrappy Chicks.